Record. So, hello everybody. I'm going to talk today with my friend Steve, who's going to do this amazing thing called magnetic heart activations and light body activations in Maribor on the 5th of November, or 7th of November on Friday. And we're just going to have a little chat. He'll tell us about a little bit who he is and what he's about, and why everybody should come. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Samo, what's going on? Nice to see you.
So, tell people who don't yet know you who you are and what you're about and what this whole stuff is about.
Oh God. Okay, that's a small question. Um, I'm a theta healing practitioner, and over the years, I'm from Canada, and that's why I have this funny accent. And over the years, I kind of had an experience where the universe, whatever you want to call it, or the divine consciousness, or I don't care what you call it, gave me this idea about a process that we could do for people to make it easier for them to allow the universe to bring them the changes they want. Um, and to help them, even more importantly, in my opinion, anyways, to help them in a different way, that different than any other way, to clear away the more and more and more the things that keep us from being our truest, deepest self. Things like limiting beliefs, things like the idea that we're victims of the world, things like old school kind of assumptions about how masculine and feminine have to work together, and on and on and on and on and on. So I've been lucky enough to be able to be given this and to give this to people for quite a few years, and that's what I do.
Well, that's super cool. So it's magnetic heart activation. What about people who never heard about it or can't imagine what that would be? How would you explain this to them? They have to come and experience, but just like how would you explain it simply to people?
Yeah, it's a little difficult just simply because it's something that's so different. Like most people don't have a context to
Mm,
hear the words through.
mm,
I was thinking about this before our conversation actually, and most of the time we believe that we need to discover what is the moment of trauma, or what is the deeper, very specific belief that causes us to need the universe to give us
mm,
crap that we keep on recreating over and over again. And that so much of the time, whether it's traditional psychotherapy or hypnosis or theta healing or whatever, we use our conscious mind and our intellectual mind to kind of decide specific ideas about what is and isn't true.
mm,
And so we know what to ask for healing, for growth.
mm,
Okay. So universe, please bring me this and this and this. And that can be, of course, as you and I both know, that can be incredibly powerful.
mm,
There's nothing wrong with that at all. And at the same time, sometimes, and I know in my case, I need this quite often, sometimes we need to bypass our intellectual mind,
mm,
bypass our assumptions about how everything has to work and what needs to be in place for me to heal, or what has to change specifically for me to become
mm,
the person I can be and fulfill my life purpose and my mission and all this kind of stuff.
mm,
Sometimes it's sometimes it's even more helpful to bypass that kind of logical mental stuff,
mm,
which can be very helpful.
mm,
Making sure I don't say that that's wrong. It's not wrong,
mm,
it's brilliant. But it's better sometimes to just go down and work on things in a non-logical, non-intellectual way, letting the infinite wisdom of the universe and your soul and the
mm,
creator through in this case, through a particular process that I accommodate people with, or I facilitate people with. And it works in ways that they and even me sometimes don't really fully 100% understand, but it still produces a kind of result. Often the result is not what you expect, which sometimes is annoying because our
mm,
ego thinks we should have a particular result.
mm,
And sometimes that's amazing and wonderful. Like, thank God it didn't follow what our brain thinks it should have been, because we were so limited, we didn't even
mm.
realize it and how our healing can go.
That's super cool. Funny, because I was thinking about the same thing. We've done a lot of healing yourself and myself for decades, and sometimes it is interesting to go and get the belief or the thing or the trauma. But lately, I've been kind of thinking maybe there's a better way to not engage your mind too much, because mind can come and sabotage it by proclaiming, making your spiritual mind, and then we get obsessed with like finding the purpose or the thing. And all techniques are great, but like the mind can come and take the best thing and turn it into a mental thing, and then it's kind of useless. I mean, it's not useless, but it doesn't really go deep. So what I'm hearing, it's like we can go beyond the mind, soul,
Mhm.
spirit, heart, whatever you want to call it. So that's a different paradigm, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes we need to, what is it, the Deepak Chopra would say, or the Indians would say, the mistake of the intellect, thinking that it
Mm,
knows everything,
mm,
uh, and letting go of that, at least temporarily or from time to time, to allow through some process like this, but basically to allow grace to
mm,
come through and do things in a far more elegant way than
mm.
our giant brains can understand in the moment.
Yeah, that's super beautiful. I know we don't get like a specific result, but like, do we have like any experience of people who have taken like I've done it and it helped me amazingly, kind of expanded my way of seeing things. And we
Yeah.
can't guarantee a specific outcome, but like, what have been like the experience of people who've done it, or like, what's been your experience with it so far? Like, any interesting insights?
Um, well, my personal experience over the years has been multi-layered because, every time I do it, I take it for myself in whatever way my giant brain will allow me to receive. Um, but it's helped me kind of more deeply and fully come into myself and kind of access and become more and more that deeper real self
Mm,
that's both on a personality level. We all have, I mean, as part of, we all have masks.
mm,
And sometimes we know we have masks, and sometimes we pretend we don't have masks, but we're just fooling ourselves.
mm,
We all have these assumptions about who we are and what we are. And this stuff over the years really powerfully has made it easier for me to see that I have masks and let go of the masks, both through, as a result of the process, being able to see it intellectually and do specific healings on myself, but also the process itself goes into my system and kind of adjust things where masks that I didn't even know were there begin to fall away. And
mm.
as they fall away, I'm thinking, oh my God, I've had this mask, I didn't even know it. And I start to have a experience of more and more peace and self appreciation and stuff like that. So for me, that's the basic benefit that I've experienced
Mm.
personally.
That's like sounds like know yourself and know thyself, like the ancient Greek thingy.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It does. That's, boy, I didn't think of it in those words. That's brilliant. You're right. It is a way to help us know ourselves, and as we continue to be able to know ourselves, be ourselves too. You know. So, and then other people will have lots of different kinds of experiences. Old traumas that were stuck in the body for 20, 30 years suddenly get released, like after that first part of the activation. Um, um, New kinds of and spontaneous manifestations happen sometimes for different people. Not the kind of manifestation where you sit down and you write 42 qualities of my soulmate, or I want a job with this and this and this and 786,000 euros a month.
It's like so 2000s, right? That's we're a little bit
Yeah,
beyond
yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's wrong,
yeah.
but maybe there's a better way of making that happen, you know?
But what happens sometimes is that natural, organic, spontaneous manifestations happen that you're not trying to consciously decide I'm going to manifest something. It's just like more and more and more people keep on reporting to me that after a certain aspect of this activation, they'll say something to the universe, oh gosh, I sure would like an ice cream right now. That'd be wonderful.
Mm,
This is not premeditated manifestation. This is just expressing a desire to the universe. And some people keep on saying, and every time I say something like that without thinking about it, and it just comes out of my mouth, then the thing somehow shows up in a way I would have never imagined.
mm,
Oh, should I have an ice cream? And then 2.5 minutes later, some kid comes by and says, I don't know why my mom gave me these two ice creams. I only want one, and I don't like chocolate. So here, you have
mm,
chocolate. Okay,
mm,
kid, thanks, man. And your chocolate is your favorite ice cream flavor. So stuff like that.
That's super cool, but like magnetic heart activations, people think it's like, what is it? Some woo stuff, but we actually have like a magnetic heart thing around the heart. It's like a scientific thing that's been proven lately. So it's not just something we made up or some woo stuff. Like it's very scientific. So maybe speak a little. We're not scientists. We can say a little bit more about that. It's like there's an actual light body, and you can measure it, and there's an actual heart field, and it's actually there. It's been scientifically just recently discovered. So just to let people, this is an actual activation. This is just like we're pretending to be meditating and imagining stuff. This is real stuff.
Yeah, yeah. They have discovered a little while ago that both, for example, both the brain and the heart create magnetic fields, but the field that the heart produces is apparently 5,000 times stronger than the magnetic field that the brain produces, and that some of the science is based on assumptions which probably are correct. This magnetic field is one of the ways that our emotions and desires communicate with the universe to give the universe instructions about what to bring us. And so this field is something that when I got this information the first time, I mean, I knew about the field.
Mm,
I knew about how strong the heart is, and I had opinions about it and everything. Um, but what I was shown was how to ask for the field to be adjusted in a particular way that makes people, as a first step, less of a victim of the world. That where the world just happens to you, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you have no influence over that, which I mean we know isn't correct, but it's a deep kind of assumption on a
mm,
subconscious level and on a body level. And so I was kind of shown how to ask for that field to be adjusted slightly and make it so that now we can kind of move into more of an experience of accepting, both consciously and subconsciously, that we have more influence over what the world brings us than we thought we did before. And that we get the chance to kind of expand our internal and external moment of decision about how we're going to react to the world, which gives it more room to give us a new experience than we've always created. If I hope that made sense.
oh yeah, totally. It makes absolute
Okay.
sense.
Good. It made sense in my mind, but sometimes when I say things, it just doesn't make sense when it comes out of my mouth. So I like to
And
check.
it's kind of funny, of course, it has positive influence on individuals, but like collectively, the more people get activated or like open up their hearts, like it's just, people go, I want to open up my heart, but you can actually activate it in a way that's practical, that's simple, that's available to everyone. So like what influence does that have like in the general population of the world? Like right now, there's so much, division stuff and crazy stuff happening. Like, why is this important? Not just for oneself, but for everyone, I guess.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a couple of things come to my mind when you talk about that, Samo. Um, the first thing that comes to my mind is, the old saying from Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world.
Mm,
So as whether it's through this magnetic heart activation and the other things that most people will be doing, as we kind of bring to resolution deeper internal conflicts, as we release old belief systems about ourselves and about the world and about how things have to work, and those are no longer true for us, that opens the possibility for the universe, for ourselves first, to have a new experience. But also, um, there's more and more scientific, even just recently, scientific evidence that says that our consciousnesses are all connected.
mm,
Um, and as you and I individually heal whatever parts of our past we needed to be healed, or our present even, and we let go of some of this need to be in drama and trauma and shock and everything else, then we kind of add that new possibility to the whole field. And as more and more and more and more and more of us are allowing ourselves to release stuff like this, to heal ourselves, to forgive others, to be peace regardless of what the outer circumstances appear to be, then more and more of the rest of the population has this opportunity as well. And basically, the people that do work like you do and I do, and the people that come and even just do meditation 10 minutes a day, you know, you guys are affecting humanity far more than you realize. You guys that do all of your stuff, even if you think it's just some silly little thing, as long as it gives you a 20 minutes peace in a day, you, in my opinion, you literally are what's the expression, the spearhead of humanity for refinement of consciousness. I prefer to call it refining consciousness as opposed to raising consciousness.
A beautiful way of saying it.
So yeah, anytime you do something, whether it's activations, which are amazing, and yes, please come and do them, you'll love it, or you just decide to meditate 10 minutes a day, great. You're making an improvement for yourself, but you're also, whether you believe it or not, and you don't have to believe me for it to be true, you're also contributing to humanity.
Wow.
You're giving the possibility of us humans, to kind of raise ourselves up out of this mess we seem to find ourselves in.
It's funny. So, what about the light body? What's a light body? You know, you go to the gym and you work out together. What's not what it is, or how does it work? How do you perceive it? Yeah, well, there's been science around it, but it's a new field. But like, how do you perceive the light body, and how can we affect it and make it like better, brighter, lighter? Like, just a little bit about that, because people are not so familiar with that
Sure.
particular body.
The cellular light body activation, it's basically actually a variation on um, light body activations that have been done for thousands of years in many, I don't know if it's most, but many of the old mystery schools, whether it's from India or South America or wherever. Um, many mystery schools have this process where through meditation, intention, and often initiation, uh, a Merkaba, which in sacred geometry is like this two pyramids, upside down to make a three-dimensional Star of David, basically, and they start spinning in opposite directions, and it activates what some people call the fifth dimensional light body, and it's an ancient initiation. And so over the years, I learned a couple of ways of that. And it raises your vibration and you become more filled with light and all this stuff. And that's good. Um, and I learned a couple of ways of doing that. And then at one point, I was meditating before I was about to do one of these processes for a group. And I got kind of, tapped on the shoulder, metaphorically, saying, listen, brother, you're going to do it a little differently than you were trained. You're going to do it, instead of doing it for the whole body, we're going to do it for every single individual cell of the body. So cellular, cell, light body activation. And it causes, here's how I understand it, it causes the cell to remember it's made of light, basically. That's the kind of Reader's Digest condensed version of what it does without getting too dramatic. And according to a gentleman who's a very interesting guy, who's a scholar of the ancient Indian texts, the Upanishads and the Vedas and all that stuff, according to him, it says basically enlightenment is just remembering you're made of light. So what you're doing is correct. You're like, oh, really? Oh, cool. But we're doing it, and this is the part I like, because I know my ego, like everybody else's ego, can get a little bit out of control. That's just
Oh, that never happens to me, never.
that's that's what I've heard. I just attended the International Samo Has No Ego meeting
That
in
is
Dubai.
irony for people who don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, we all have it. This is part of being human, and that's fine. Nothing wrong with it. But if I get my body, I identify with this, and suddenly it's easier for me, I know personally, for me to get ego involved and ego invested. Like, oh, well, I've got my light body activated. Do you? I don't think so. you know, but one of the reasons why I like that I was told to do it this way, where this cell and this cell and this cell and this cell, I was getting it, is I'm not identifying with these cells. Yeah, they're part of me, but this isn't me. So my ego is like, no big deal. And then it allows, for me, my opinion, it allows this process, which is a variation of an ancient initiation, to be psychologically cleaner, especially for Westerners,
Mm.
because the Westerners don't have the same um, uh, um, education and attitudes about stuff like this as people from the East, from India and China and Japan and all that stuff.
That's really cool. I like it. It's like transcending the ego by getting around it, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you've studied many different meditations and stuff and techniques and stuff. I was just wondering, this is a big question, but like how do you see like the traditional spiritual teachings and the modern ones? How do they are different to say come together and how did you bring them together? Because then you have this really interesting path of yourself.
Um, wow, that's an interesting question. I think I think that both have absolute validity. I
Mm,
think the old school stuff, especially the really serious old school kind of meditator people, have, the Kriya Yoga people, for example, oh, juicy, juicy, juicy. Um, and generally, the newer kind of so-called spiritual people and meditators and whatever, and people that teach stuff, um, for most of them, they don't go as deep, which isn't necessarily bad, because as we move out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius, there's a completely new consciousness energy waking up.
mm.
And Aquarius, if I remember correctly, now I'm going off of my memory, so I could get something wrong here slightly, but so forgive me if astrologers, if I screw this up, but my apologies. Aquarius is more of in a good way, a wild card that is creative in a different way. And it brings in a different kind of perspective on things. And so as we move into this new age, and if, according to some prophecies, for example, 1,000 years of golden niceness or whatever, then it makes sense to me that honoring the old ways while allowing new perspectives to enhance those or could be appropriate right now. The trick is to find those combinations, both find the ones that trigger your ego in a positive way, oh my God, but also when you get triggered, you get to see yourself, okay, what is this really about? And can I use this without it turning me into an egomaniac? Because it's really great stuff. And so you get the possibility, I'm kind of going in a weird direction here, the possibility of having this old school perspectives, which are wonderful and amazing. Sometimes they have belief systems that limit them a little bit, which we can spend another 3-hour podcast talking about. Absolutely.
Next time there will be a backup podcast on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, why not? Why not? It can be fun. And the new ones are bringing, some of the new people are bringing in different twists to the old knowledge. Some of the new people are bringing new knowledge in that humanity wasn't able to begin to even comprehend, the last 1,000 or 2,000 years. But now, because of whatever this shift is, going into Aquarius and everything else that's happening, then there's new openings for understanding our consciousness and its interactions with the world. And that makes sense that some people are going to be bringing in stuff that is amazing, that the old school people couldn't comprehend, not because they're stupid, they're not, they're wonderful and amazing, but it's just a different kind of energy. So we get to have new stuff. We have to be careful we don't let the new stuff make us think we're more than we are in a positive way, but honor the new knowledge and honor the old knowledge at the same time. and find that kind of paradox of it's not either or, it's kind of both. It's like a third answer to the question. It's not one or the other, it's something else.
That's super cool. Interesting. So we'll talk more about that. But for now, so like in November, Steve is coming to Maribor. It's gonna be magnetic art activations, core and cell body activations, and you'll be available for some sessions before and after if someone's interested, maybe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm working on my schedule for that, and yes,
Okay.
hopefully that we can do
So
that.
just before we finish, like somebody who's never heard about this, knows nothing, didn't see the interview, why should they come?
Because you say it's cool.
Which is absolute truth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the stories you've told about some of the stuff that happened to you is remarkable. So
And
yeah.
for me, it's been amazing. I've done like some of them online a while ago. Like I think it was like eight, nine, and each after each and every one, I had this sort of like really deep sense of meditation. The next 2 days, things just shifted like dramatically. So this stuff
Hmm.
works, and that's why I'm hosting it. Like I wouldn't be hosting something if I didn't try it out myself. I was like, I want people to get this because it's
Yeah, yeah,
amazing. That's why I'm doing it.
yeah. Whatever you think of, you people that are listening, I'm going to talk behind Samuel's back for a second. So Samuel, just close your ears. Whatever you agree with or don't agree with Samuel, one thing you can know, his level of integrity about communicating what he believes is the highest truth is unshakable. So whatever Samuel says, believe it or don't believe it, but know that he's telling you his truth. So just want to make sure that people understand that about you.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for this, and let's see what happens. What magic we uncover. God knows what could happen. Thank you so
It'll be
much.
my pleasure. It'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to
Okay,
it.
everybody. See you soon in Maribor.